Alright, I'll start explaining to everyone
First
now.
of all,
look,
Sidespin
is
is
basically divided into two types.
One is the one
right?
the streamer is serving
towards
right now.
everyone's left side, curving leftwards. This is left side.
And there's
spin.
another one which is
towards everyone's right
what
side.
we call curving rightwards, right
So
side
creating
spin.
this side spin, first you have to make it curve. Look, everyone, it's not about how much power I put into serving this ball. Actually, many friends feel their serves don't curve, and they always think it's because they lack power. But they will find that, even though I increase the power, the side spin is still not strong. This means that when many friends are serving side spin, their point of contact is problematic. That is to say, from the very beginning, you didn't brush the side of the ball, then no matter how you serve, you won't be able to produce a side spin. So let me break it down into two. One is left side spin. One is right side spin. So how to serve these two? Let's talk about right side spin first. For right side spin, how it can everyone form a sharp curving trajectory. That's because our racket, from the very beginning, when making contact and brushing the ball, is using the racket to brush the right side of the ball. That's why it can form right side spin. Right? Now, I might not be using much force. Even if I just lightly brush it, just a touch. Look, everyone, this ball also curves. If I now add a bit more force. Look, everyone, add a bit more brushing action. It will only curve faster, curve sharper, but it's not that. If our power is small, it won't curve. It only curves with big power. So how should we approach the point of contact? Alright, look everyone, to serve a good right side spin, your point of contact must primarily depend on your racket angle. This racket angle doesn't refer to whether it's flat or vertical. What is the racket angle mostly about? It's mostly about its orientation. Look everyone, actually for right side spin actual matches, it's basically these few types. What's the first one? The most common hook serve. Right? And the second one, very common one, is actually the backhand serve. Backhand serve. And the third one, maybe a bit more difficult, right? It should be this one. The forehand tomahawk serve. Next, probably the most difficult one is this reverse pendulum. You see, I can make all these serves curve. Did everyone notice? Different actions, but they all make the ball curve to the right. That's because for these few serves, for each one, the orientation of my racket face is facing towards myself. That is, facing myself, face to face with myself. Facing my own face. Facing my own body. Everyone, look, isn't this when I serve a hook serve, look at my black rubber. My racket face is facing myself. Only then can it curve to the right. Same for the reverse pendulum. Racket face facing myself. Only then will it curve right. For the backhand serve, even though I'm using my backhand to serve, but through a very good wrist action, isn't it also making my racket face point towards myself? Facing this side. Then the brushed ball is also right side spin, including the forehand tomahawk serve. Look everyone, the racket face is also facing myself to serve it out. So, but many friends, the moment you contact the ball, why doesn't the served ball curve forward? Look everyone, this situation will happen. Why doesn't this ball curve? I originally probably wanted to serve a forehand tomahawk serve. But why didn't this ball curve? This is because everyone might be in the preparation process. You got the racket angle right. The racket face is pointing towards yourself. Because at the moment of serving the ball, what happened to your action? It deformed. That is to say, I originally wanted to brush the right side of the ball. But through the deformation of the ultimately, at the moment I contacted the ball, I actually brushed the bottom of the ball, or another part, or the top part. It couldn't form side spin. This is what many friends, when they are serving, the problem they notice the least. First, they don't have a good point of contact. Secondly, from the beginning of brushing to the end of the brushing process, they are unable to consistently brush the right side of the ball. The right side, so their right side spin feels like the wrist is hooked very sharply at the beginning. But in the end, the served ball doesn't curve. So the method of right side spin. Everyone, let me teach you a little method. What is this little method? It is our elbow joint. Remember, the elbow joint, actually during our serving process, what is it mainly responsible for? Controlling the direction of our force, right? Actually, look everyone, whether you are serving your forehand tomahawk or the reverse pendulum, and including the hook serve, and including the backhand serve, have you noticed our elbow joint? Actually, where is it exerting force towards? Our elbow joint. Its direction is moving forward and to the right. Wait for you guys to confirm now, again. Everyone can focus mainly on my elbow. My elbow, now serving backhand right side spin. Isn't it going outwards to the right? Alright, let me serve a hook serve. Everyone look at my elbow. Hey, my elbow is in its direction. Forward and to the right? Right? And also, what else? Reverse pendulum. Look at my elbow. Is my elbow still moving forward and to the right? Tomahawk serve. You'll find if you want to make it curve. Doesn't my elbow also have to move forward and to the right? So, many friends, if your side spin serve, right side spin, doesn't curve. Very likely. Because of the orientation of your racket face is wrong. It's not completely facing yourself. It couldn't accurately brush the right side of the ball. Secondly, during the process of exerting force, you didn't pay attention to the direction of the joint's movement. Many friends, when their hook serve doesn't tucking inwards, what is their elbow doing? Does this ball still curve? It doesn't curve, right? Why is tucking inwards wrong? The direction is reversed. The direction of his elbow joint is actually forward and moving outwards, slightly outside the body. So if you want to serve a good right side spin, what must you pay attention to? You must pay attention to the movement direction of your elbow joint. When the movement direction is right, your right side spin can achieve what? Only then can it achieve after our racket angle is right. Through controlling the direction, a correct direction can ensure that from beginning to end, you are using the racket to brush the right side of the ball. It won't be because during the process of exerting force, deformation of the action, the error in direction, that leads to ultimately not smoothly brushing the right side of the ball, and eventually forming what might just be a pure backspin. Look at this elbow, my direction is wrong. I tucked it inwards. Has it become a backspin? If my elbow direction is correct, right? Moving forward and to the right. Then look, doesn't this ball curve? Right? So everyone must pay attention when serving a reverse pendulum. Serve, this kind of right side spin. Force generation direction of the elbow joint. Let me give you another example. The backhand serve. If I want to serve a right side spin with my backhand, my elbow pushing straight forward like this, can I serve it? I can't serve it at all. It's even a bit difficult to serve it on the table. This ball doesn't curve at all. Even if I use my wrist. Friends, look. Does it have any strong right side spin? No, right? But if my elbow joint can control its direction well, it's not pointing straight forward. Slightly forward and look, to everyone, the right. Did this ball curve? Let's do another one. Is this ball starting to curve now? So, have you guys noticed? For serving side spin well, we must pay attention to our elbow joints, direction of movement, and at the moment we contact the ball, our racket angle, whether its orientation is accurate. If you can achieve both, the racket face orientation and your own elbow joint's movement direction, moving forward and to the right, leaning a bit more to the outside, then the initial form of your right side spin will appear. Only then can you serve a right side spin. Only then will you see the side spin right side spin ball have a curving trajectory. Right? But if the direction is wrong, whether it's tucking into the chest, the spin is gone. Or pushing forward, the spin is also gone. Only by what? Moving to the right side, see? For reverse pendulum too, if I want to serve it with a curve, I'll do another one. Look, the more I push it out to the right side, the more this ball curves, see? The more I reach forward, the less it curves. So, everyone must make sure to control the racket face orientation and the elbow joint's force generation direction. Today, a friend asked me a question. I think it was a very good question. He said, hey, then when I exert force, is it my elbow joint exerting the force? Or should the fingers and wrist exert more force? Because actually, many friends my elbow joint control the direction, right? This ball can already form a right side spin. Now, I want to make its right side spin. Make it curve sharper and have more spin. Then what should I rely on to exert force? At this time, many friends will fall into a misconception. They think when the elbow joint pushes forward and to the right, when it pushes to the side, they think the ball is already curving. Then if I push my elbow forward harder, the ball will have more spin. Actually, that's not true, friends. Because at the moment of contacting the ball, what truly applies force to the ball? Applies the friction. It relies on our fingers and our wrist. Right? So, whether we are accumulating force or exerting force, it mainly utilizes our fingers, wrist, and forearm. Mainly these. So, in serving, if you want to improve your serves, spin, if you want this ball to curve sharper, what do you have to rely on? Ultimately, you still rely on the fingers at the moment of contacting the ball, applying what to the ball? Instantaneous friction. Only then will this ball have more spin. It's not relying on our elbow joint to exert extra force. Then many friends will say, then how should my fingers and wrist exert force? Everyone needs to pay attention to two points. The first is our elbow joint. When our fingers and wrist are accumulating force, you must know how to relax. Then at the moment you release the stroke, only then can the ball have large. Only then can there be a what? Instantaneous acceleration. Only then can you apply what kind of force to the ball? Explosive force, not brute force. Right? You must first know how to relax. This is very basic. Secondly, what is the second point? The second point is, at the moment we contact the ball, our fingers and wrist must also, mainly through the fingers, actively grip the racket. What's the use of this gripping? It's so that at this moment, when our explosive force can be exerted, it can be more concentrated. Look, everyone, my elbow joint actually controlling the direction is enough. The rest we rely on fingers and wrist. One is relaxing to accelerating when contacting the ball. Needs to be fast. Secondly, it's at the final moment of contacting the ball. Our braking action also needs to be fast. Did you see that, So friends? The fingers and wrist need to be fast in two ways. One is, fast acceleration. What is the second? The final braking action must be fast. If you can achieve both of these, your fingers and wrist can find what kind of feeling? Explosive force, which is a feeling of explosive power. Then your ball will have spin. So everyone must definitely pay attention. During this process of exerting the relationship between the elbow joint and the fingers or wrist is responsible for controlling direction. Racket face orientation is responsible for grasping when brushing the ball. Which part of the ball you are contacting. Secondly, how much quality is ultimately produced. How strong the spin is. Depends on the two fasts of the fingers and wrist. Force generation relies on fingers and control relies on the elbow. Whether your brushing point on the ball relies on your racket face orientation. When you can achieve all three of these points, the serve you produce can be stable, accurate, and vicious. This is sidespin. Now I will talk to everyone about how should left sidespin be done, It's actually the same principle. When everyone wants to serve a good left sidespin, especially for shake-hand grip players, the most necessary thing to adjust is the grip. Many friends still don't know how to adjust this grip. You feel like if you adjust the grip, you can't even hold the racket. Let me show you how to adjust it. Shake-hand players need to pay attention. First, move the thumb of our grip upwards. Press it up. On the back, look everyone, what do you find first? First find your middle finger. Place the middle finger on your backhand. In the groove on the right side, below the rubber. You place it here, and then your ring finger and pinky finger naturally line up behind it. Then you bring your index finger up. Place it in the middle of the racket. It's the thumb and index finger plus a middle finger, a three-finger force generation. You might simultaneously also use a little bit of this ring finger. So why must it be like this? Look, everyone, when fully gripping the racket with the shake-hand grip, you will find that what is easy. Hooking inward is easy. Then what is difficult? Bending the wrist outward is relatively difficult. Why? Because if we want to serve a good left side spin, then shouldn't we make our racket face point outward? When the racket face points outward, only then can we brush the left side of the ball you serve. We'll then have a very sharp left side spin curve. Right, friends? Alright, so you have the orientation of your racket face. You need it to point outward, right? If you want it to point outward comfortably. Look everyone, if I don't adjust my shake-hand grip, look, I have to serve like this. I have to rely on twisting my arm over like this. This is too uncomfortable, right? So we need to adjust this grip. Then your wrist becomes flexible. With a flexible wrist, you can easily and naturally master hooking inward. And bending outward. Hey, look, this way, right? When you exert force, you can make your racket face point outward. And your fingers and wrist still have room to exert force. Everyone must definitely pay attention to this. You cannot grip the racket fully here and desperately try to serve left side spin. Just relying on your arm to twist inward like this. You won't be able to put spin on. Today I saw a member here serving like this. Desperately holding the racket and twisting it here. It doesn't curve at all, right? So I gave him a demonstration. I said, let me serve one for you. It curves very much. Because I adjusted my wrist properly. Because the most important thing in serving, look, the orientation of the racket, or racket angle, the range of the wrist. These are all very direct factors in whether this spins or not. So the adjustments mainly need to be made on the wrist. Alright, having this, everyone can actually deduce from this. How to deduce? Look everyone, just now with our elbow joint controls the direction. It controls it forward and to the right. Then actually for left side spin, it's the opposite. Left side spin is the opposite. It's forward and to the left. See that? It's more towards the left.